going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to go into the race day updates for Denver, round 16. We got 2 rounds left. We got a few interesting things to talk about and a really tight points battle in the 250 class. So let's get into it. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about is the track. So I'm a little bit concerned about the track not having a lot of passing points. There's only a few bowl turns, with 2 of them being right here. But these 2 are just coming across the start straight, where the guys are going to all basically be going the same speed, and it's not going to set up for a great pass. And then here's the other one right here, which is in a better spot, but my concern with that is it's just going to have this short lead up to it out of the sand and into the bowl turn. So it's just a short rhythm section. Definitely a passing point, but nothing that's great as far as setting up a pass. Everywhere else is pretty much 90s, and a lot of them are right-hand 90s. So that's a little bit concerning for me. I guess this is kind of not a 90, but it's really not a full bowl turn either. Now, you can definitely make a pass in a 90, but they're just not as good. Another thing worth noting is that this dirt is a lot drier and sandier than the dirt that we've been racing in. So I do expect some ruts, but a lot more of it is going to be steering with the rear and just a different riding style than what we've seen in the last few weeks. This particular style of dirt and track just seems to lend its hand more to like a Jason Anderson riding style. I do think he could do really well this weekend. He did obviously get on the box last weekend, and he's really rides well in these conditions. He's from altitude. He grew up in New Mexico, not super far from here. And on top of that, he just likes to turn the bike with his rear wheel more than the front. So I really think he could do well at this track this weekend. So keep an eye out for that. With all of that being said, just want to kind of run through what it looks to be the rhythms on this track here. So pretty good start straight, lots of room, lots of run in, which is, that's nice to see. Nice sweeping left-hand turn. Don't look to see too many pileups there. Then a lot of the guys are probably just gonna, if you're out in the front, they're gonna jump onto this table right here and then jump off and then double into the turn. But alternatively, you can also jump all the way up and over and then triple out. Those are 2 really fast lines that I saw in press day. Then from here, it does look to be a little bit more basic. You're just going to go on, off, and then triple. So nothing too crazy there, which also leads me back to my first point of not a lot of passing. These guys are all going to be doing the same line, another on, off, triple. So pretty much the majority of the guys are going to be doing that. Here's where it does get a little bit more tricky. This is actually a really steep landing right here, and a lot of the guys were just doubling in right here because it's just a bit of a stretch to get to that tabletop. So that's where it gets tricky. You could probably go double in, triple, 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 and then single. But I do expect the guys to kind of mix that up a bit as the night goes on. You could also come in here, roll single, jump on, off, and do that alternative line. But really, there's not a lot of great options there. I do think that, we're going to see things break down and the lines will change, but generally speaking, that's what you're going to see. Then you'll come back across the start straight, and then back across the start straight again, and then back across the start straight again. So you can kind of see my concern there as far as not a lot of passing points into your whoops. Nothing too crazy to say there. This is an interesting little flat corner here, back across the start straight for the 4th time, into a semi-bowl turn, over the single, over the finish line jump, through the sand, and back around. So that's going to do it for the track. Let's go over to everything else for our race day updates. Now, obviously, we are racing in Denver this weekend. They're a little over 5,000 feet in altitude, so the bikes are actually going to be down around 15% on horsepower. I really don't look for that to affect the 450s as far as them being able to hit the lines they want or anything like that. I think they can adjust for all of that. But it could affect the 250s quite a bit, so keep an eye on that. You could see some guys coming up short or just trying to stretch the jumps a little bit more than usual. As far as the weather goes, everything's all clear. It's going to be sunny with a high of 67, so probably a little bit chilly come the night show, but nothing too crazy. No rain, no wind, nothing like that that's going to really mess these guys up. Look for the track to be pretty hard-packed and dry, especially come main event. I'm sure they're going to work water into it as much as they can, and they do a great job, but as far as everything else we've seen this year, going to be quite a bit harder and drier than usual. Moving on to injury updates. Unfortunately, Benny Bloss, who is riding for Factory Beta, is not going to be able to race with us this weekend. It sounds like he crashed on Thursday, or at least that's when we heard about it. He is going to be sitting out with an arm and a collarbone injury. Really unfortunate because he was solidly in 14th in points, so that's a bummer for him. He's having a solid season. Nothing super spectacular, but he was really the flagship rider for Beta. Even though Colt Nichols has a little bit more accolades to his name, he was actually putting in better results than Colt, even when Colt came back. So, really hate to see that for Benny. Hopefully, he can come back for outdoors. He usually rides pretty well in outdoors, so hopefully, it's not a major setback. But Benny's going to be out this week. A couple other guys I want to mention that are going to be out is also Michael Moseman. He is still out after getting landed on a few weeks back. And then, unfortunately, Garrett Marchbanks is also going to be out. We saw him go down in that heat race, and he's not going to be able to race with us this weekend, which is also a major bummer because he was solidly fifth in points. Really hate to see that go down the drain for him. He was really riding well, and I hope he can come back for motocross. As far as injured riders that are now in, thankfully Levi Kitchen will be racing with us this weekend. He looked good and comfortable in press day on Friday, so hopefully that'll translate to the night show, and hopefully he can give us everything that he has got. He's only 2 points behind RJ Hampshire in the points battle, so really it's all up in the air. Whoever does better in the next 2 weeks will be the champion. So shout out to Levi. He'll be out there this weekend. And then also John Short, he's returning after not being with us since Indianapolis. So great to have him back. Look for him to be trying to make it into that main event. As far as points updates goes, as I just mentioned in the 250 class, Levi Kitchen is only 2 points behind RJ Hampshire. Then in third is Jordan Smith. He's pretty far back, but he's going to have to battle with Joe Shimoda just a little bit. Then as of right now, in fifth is Garrett Marchbanks, but as I mentioned, he is going to be out. So Julian Beaumer is going to be looking to capitalize on that. He should be able to get enough points to pass him up. He's pretty far back, but with 2 rounds left, he should be able to get into fifth. So then in seventh is Anthony Bourdon, who's had a really solid season. He also might just be able to vault his way past Garrett Marchbanks and try to get into sixth overall. But Nate Thrasher is not far behind him. And even though he's had a rough couple of races here and there, he could also pass Anthony and just, make things a little interesting there. So hard to say exactly how that top 8 is going to really settle in, but that's the top 8 in the 250s. Moving on to 450s. Jet Lawrence is 12 points in front of Cooper Webb, so he's going to need to make up at least 7 points in one round and then 6 in the next, so that's going to be a pretty hard task. If nothing else, it would be nice to see Cooper make up at least a few points in Denver and just make things a little bit more interesting for the final round, but realistically, we all know Jet is going to be your title winner unless something catastrophic happens. He's earned it, so shout out to him for a solid season. Shout out to Cooper Webb for also having a solid season. Hopefully these guys can battle down to the wire, but either way, it's been a great season. Then in third is now Eli Tomac. He's battled his way all the way up to third, so shout out to him for not giving up. Hopefully we can see him in pro motocross. Nothing's been confirmed yet, but in third is Eli Tomac. Then in fourth is Chase Sexton. So Chase is going to be back with us this week after that unfortunate crash a couple weeks back. We saw him race again last weekend. He looked really solid, so he could technically battle his way back past Eli and potentially take back over that third slot. Have to keep an eye on that. Then in fifth is Jason Anderson. I think he's a sneaky pick to do really well this weekend, so keep an eye on him. And then in sixth is Ken Roxon, who will not be racing with us, so he's going to be trying to hold on to that spot. But most likely Aaron Plessinger, who is in seventh, will be able to pass him, so Aaron's going to be doing his best to do that. Don't think he really cares if he gets sixth or seventh, but just worth noting. And then in eighth, also worth noting, is Justin Cooper, who's also on his rookie season and quietly just having a really solid season. I think it's also worth mentioning that while the 250 guys do have 2 more rounds left, as far as the 250 West, their last round is going to be a showdown between the East and the West. So while the points battle is tight going in, whatever happens, if it stays tight or spreads out, it really could still come down to the final race, as it's going to be a mixture of all of the best riders, East and West. So there could be some points to be made or lost. As we saw in the last showdown, things got hectic pretty quick. But that's going to go ahead and do it for today's race day update video. If you guys made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you sticking around. If you would like to support the channel, the best way to do that right now is to go ahead and check out our website, motofevermediashop.com. Link is in the description below. It's just a little site I'm building, just started it, working on it. Got some merchandise on there. Some of it's Moto Fever specific and just other moto gear. Feel free to check it out, grab something if you like it. If you guys enjoyed or appreciate the content, feel free to subscribe. I really appreciate it when you do. It's helping me grow the channel. Really appreciate everyone who's come alongside so far. With all that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.